Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February Lake Mills Area School District Board of Education meeting. I'm Rick Mason, and if you've been following us, you can see that we're in a different surrounding. We are no longer in the City Council chambers. We're in the new renovated area, or one of the renovated areas of the high school. So with that, our mission statement is preparing all of today's students for tomorrow's opportunities. Verification meeting notice.
The agenda was submitted to the Lake Mills Leader on Monday, February 3rd. And at that time, it was posted at the Lake Mills Library, the Lake Mills Post Office, and the Bank of the Lake Mills. On February 7th, we adjusted the agenda to include action item D, approval of We Love Our Public Schools Week resolution. And at that time, we reposted the agenda as revised on the district website.
Good, thank you. Call to order. And can we stand and do the pledge, please?
All right, I got a little bit here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Rachel Davies. Here. Dawn Delaney.
Here.
Robert Temperio. David Radel.
Here.
Richard Mason.
Here. Any agenda revisions? I don't think we have any tonight. So could I have an approval? Motion to approve?
I move the board approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay. Board reports. We met we met just recently at the Facilities Committee and decided, what projects that we're going to be supporting the next year or so. And again, it's primarily the roofs. We always have to replace a portion of the roofs in the high school. And that's one of the things. And the other things we're looking at is redoing the parking lot in the high school. This is for like next year. And we're looking at some air handling system work in the high school also. So again, we're looking ahead. We're planning what needs to be done. We're earmarking things so they're not missed over the next few years. I'd like to invite the community to a ribbon cutting ceremony at 3:30 on Saturday, February 22nd. Following a brief ceremony, there'll be tours available of the new addition at the high school, as well as the EMS chili supper will be taking place at the same time at 4 p.m. So mark your calendars, February 22nd, and that's a Saturday at 3:30 it begins.
And we'll be right here in this room.
Oh, the chili supper?
No.
No.
The ribbon cutting, the big scissors.
All right.
It's a date night.
Dr. Delaney.
For correspondence, we received 2 items. A thank you from Tony Zastro, our school nurse, for the plant received as a memorial at the time of her mother's funeral. We also received a notice from the Jefferson School District regarding a request to have a property detached from the Jefferson School District to attach to the Lake Mills Area School District.
Okay, thank you. Lake Mills High School representative, Maggie Bolzine. Maggie?
So now that the second semester is well underway, there are many things that the students are preparing for. The spring play is preparing their performance of Blythe Spirit, and they will be performing the weekend of April 3rd. Solo and Ensemble Festival is on February 29th at Lodi High School, and the music students are preparing all their pieces. The winter sports teams are doing very well this season. The boys basketball team is 15-3, and they are tied for first in conference. The girls basketball team is 19-1, and they are currently first in conference. The wrestling team came in 6th place at their conference meet, and they have their regional meet next Saturday. And the powerlifting team is also doing very well. 8 of the members are going to state, and Maddie Henderson and Tatum Riggleman received first team all conference, and Kevin Matteron received second team all conference. And the student body is very excited to see how the rest of the winter sports season plays out for our teams.
Thank you, thank you. Administrative reports, first one is Mr. Vogel, high school principal.
Good evening. I do have a guest with me, and it's Miss Diane Sweeney, our school counselor. You want me to turn this way, or am I good?
Kinda-
What would you like me to do, Miss Strike?
Well, so you can be.
Smile.
Yes.
This way?
I'm not going to push the envelope there.
Okay. Miss Sweeney is with me, our school counselor, and a couple of things I want to talk about. First, just want to give a congrats to our high school forensics team, led by Miss Morris and Miss Mitchell, who hosted last week, Monday, conference forensics, and our team took second place. And so had a lot of kids in here after school on Monday, and the weather cooperated. And again, congrats to our advisors for their hard work. So congrats. I just wanted to mention, I did give you a packet on Lake Mills High School in class rank. Over the past several years, our leadership building team and our staff has discussed abolishing our current class rank system. This year, the leadership team, along with the staff, have put together a proposal that you have that would transition our high school from a class rank system to a Lodi system. If these changes would be approved, the class of 2024, our current 8th graders, would be the first class to utilize the Lodi system. Again, this would not affect our current 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Our primary purposes of proposing a Lodi system is to encourage rigor in student coursework, decrease unnecessary competition between our classmates, and increase students' academic and intellectual risks. The addition of the Lodi system and the concurrent elimination of the existing class rank system will have, as we believe, a positive impact on students. And in the proposal itself, I did have some materials that hopefully you read over. I did have a sample board policy, and I do have to say that this stuff, I will give credit. I kind of did a lot of research on this and kind of cherry-picked some information from different schools, such as Evansville, Sheboygan Falls, and River Valley. So I'll give credit specifically on that stuff if and when it's approved, okay? I just put on there our leadership team members that have been working on this the last couple of years. A couple of things. In our conference, in the Capital Conference, there are 2 schools that utilize the Lodi system right now, and that's Lodi and Marshall. We would be the third. And what I've seen in the state of Wisconsin is that it's kind of half and half. Half have the cum laude system and half have class rank. And what you see is the switch from, believe due to the research, that the switch is from class rank to cum laude. You don't see cum laude schools going to class rank. So I think the progressive way is the way that we're looking to move towards. And really, on my end, is kind of reducing that competition between classmates on class rank. So another important part of this, I think, is the frequently asked questions. And we would communicate that and the stuff in here to our incoming freshman class as some type of addendum to our course selection handbook, and set up ways to inform our incoming 8th graders on this. And one thing that I'd also like to say is that for our 8th graders for next year, the only class that they could take that would be a Lodi class would be advanced geometry. I mean, that would be important to let them know that. But it's something that we've been working on for quite a while, and something we'd like to pull the trigger on, and we think it makes sense.
Do we have any questions at all? Talk a little bit about how that affects a college entrance and how it affects the scholarship from the state in the past, for the valedictorian and the salutatorian.
Sure, I can speak to that. So from a college admissions perspective, over the time that I've been a school counselor, I've seen more and more colleges go away from asking for a specific class rank as part of an evaluative process for kids. The ones that do, I think almost entirely they will ask for a class rank, or they have the option, do not rank, because I think it's just become so common for high schools to not rank. So again, I don't see our kids, in fact, I think it's advantageous that we are really focusing on the courses that make sense for individual students, as opposed to just looking at the classes in some cases where they can be the best. And I think that it provides more emphasis on a breadth of opportunities that we have to offer in the high school, as opposed to maybe really focused on, again, those that they, are only going to get the strongest grades in. And I think in the packet, if you had a chance to read over it, it talks about, encouraging kids to, to take risks, and the classes and the curricular areas are laddered, so, there are lots of opportunities for the Laude points to be earned in, across the board in the curricular areas. Speaking to academic excellence, so we would still be looking at the grade point average, and that scholarship goes to the student that has the highest grade point average. And if there would be a tie, which inevitably has been happening, we would look to the Laude points as to break that tie.
Okay, that would be the tiebreaker.
Correct.
Yeah.
And even in, right now, we have a tiebreaker in place, and there might be, the tiebreaker looks to the GPA, and then it looks currently to the ACT, and then it looks to a PSAT. So I would assume that you'd have multiple tiebreakers in place other than just the Laude points.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Any other questions that you might have? No? No?
Dr. Mason, I have one more point. If you look at
Okay.
the classes that are offered as Laude classes right now,
Yeah.
that list is open to change it on a yearly basis, on an annual basis. And if you see in there that for family and consumer science and tech ed, there isn't a specific class listed as of now. That will probably change as we work with our Ms. Vincenzi and Mr. O'Brien. They do have, there's not a standalone class designated as of yet, but they do have the youth apprenticeship opportunity when they're junior or senior year. But we'll look to add some type of class that is kind of that has prerequisites to it, that it's kind of a deeper knowledge base for FACE and for tech ed.
And I think they, even without doing it, they exist right now. If you look at our book, in both of those areas, there are capstone courses that kids, can go through to get to that, that real demonstration of mastery in that area. So,
Okay.
again, I think it's just encouraging kids to expand their options, so. And it's not just based on GPA, but it's based on, account.
Good.
Can I ask a question? So GPA isn't affected by this, so there's still the GPA based on class grades.
Correct.
But
And
there's a
nothing is weighted. There are
Nothing's
not
weighted.
weighted grades at all.
But then there's a core group of classes that go into the calculation of the Laude.
Correct.
So the students have to take those Laude classes to be part of even the lowest level, the 3-point.
Correct.
The points, okay. So, interesting.
Yeah, to be just cum laude, which is the beginning tier of recognition, you need 16 points. So that would be a 3.2 GPA times 4 points of laude classes.
A 3.2 GPA in
Times
those
4.
classes.
Yep, in
Yeah,
those classes.
Which is separate than the overall GPA.
Correct.
Where you get from any classes that you
Yep.
take.
Anything else? Okay.
Okay.
Do you have anything else for,
Nope, that's it.
that's it?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bauer, middle school principal.
Good evening. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about the different ways we are incorporating and developing our understanding and use of the social emotional learning at the middle school. Currently, we have our sixth grade piloting a second step program that teaches social emotional learning in small segments via video and classroom discussion. Mr. Linscott, our school counselor, is looking at how to embed some of those lessons within the classroom as opposed to having standalone school counseling classes. In February, we had staff development on the 5 SEL competencies and how they can be put into practice for both students and teachers' well-being. Mary Carncross and I traveled to Tucson to become trainers in the Nurtured Heart approach, which we will in-service the staff on February 21st. Also that day, Anna Solberg will be there. She's a professional trainer in SEL. She'll work with our staff to further understand the competencies as well as to understand the research behind some of these practices. And of course, we continue to do our PlayWorks, which has got embedded SEL, and we continue our evaluation of that program. We have wrapped up the second semester also at the middle school. We are actually in the middle of our second round, or Thursday will be our second round of parent-teacher conferences, and I just want to thank all the families for coming and working with the staff for the greatness of all our children. Any questions for me? All right.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson, elementary principal.
Good evening. Just a couple of updates. In January, we met for our data team meetings every winter. We always come together as grade level teams with our resource teachers to look at how kids are doing and kind of restructure and regroup to think about programming to meet the varied needs of our students. So that happened during our in-service in January. And then an update on Every Child Thrives. I have given you some information about that over the course of the year, working with Greater Watertown Health Foundation. They have 3 pillars that we are working on for all students. So all children healthy, all children ready for kindergarten, and all children succeed in school. The pillar of all children ready for kindergarten leads us to the Ages and Stages Questionnaire. So this month, Mrs. Brown and a team of our special education teachers and our school psychologists will be working with the Greater Watertown Health Foundation to look at providing the ASQ online for parents. We, in the past, have been doing it with a paper form that parents fill out during 4K Roundup. And then for next year, looking to use an online version of that, and then also repeating it annually for the first 3 years of a child's school career to see how they're growing over the course of time, and if the work that we're doing in 4K, 5K, and first grade are having the benefits that we're hoping for. The other pillar that we are looking at is Talk, Read, Play, which is a community program to help with parenting skills, helping parents have access to different opportunities to talk, to read, and to play with their children. We will be getting an in-service on that during our February time. All of our 4K, 5K, and special education staff will be involved in that, and we will also be inviting community partners to come and learn more about that, partnering with the public library and other community venues to bring Talk, Read, Play into our community. And then finally, there's a program called Triple P, which is Positive Parenting Programs. And this is something that the Health Foundation, along with the Lake Mills School District, are going to hopefully be partnering in the very near future. And what this program is a grant-funded program from the National Child Abuse and Neglect Foundation. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind grant opportunity that we would have the opportunity to participate in. And we would be training our staff in ways to work very closely with parents, all parents, and then also small groups of parents to help with parenting skills. And we know that when parents and families have strong foundational skills within the home, that's going to help everybody to succeed. So those are the 3 big programs that we are working on currently. Any questions?
Questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go on to Mrs. Bronkert.
Good evening. Just to touch on a couple things that have been going on. I've been working with Chris Zerniak, our Director of Technology, applying for E-rate funding, which is some technology funding that helps support projects we do for our infrastructure, such as switches, routers, access points, and such, and that kind of thing. So we're in the midst of that season right now, and we'll be reviewing bids later this month. Another thing is our audit for our financial audit was up this year, so we are in the process of receiving bids for our financial audit. We sent out bid requests to 8 different companies, and they are due back by the end of this month. On Friday, Kathy Koyman invited me. Kathy Koyman's our food service director. We have a representative from Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin coming to visit our school on Friday morning. We received a couple grants through this organization, and Kathy was very good about sending them follow-up as to what we were doing with the grant money, and they're just really would like to come and see things, come and see everything. So we're very excited about that and having these guests here that day. And then lastly, in the packet, I did include the 2019-20 student enrollment. Our second Friday in January, we did our second count. And I just gave you information, how things changed from September. Our FTE is down 7 students from last September. And these numbers are used in calculating our equalization aid for next year.
Okay, any questions of Wendy?
I know Pam will talk some more about enrollments under her report, so I don't want to take away all her
Miss-
steam.
Mrs. Strike, Building Administrator.
So I attached another enrollment spreadsheet to your report this evening. And what I did is I took the numbers from Mrs. Brockert and made some assumptions, and I rolled those numbers over. So there's some projections there for the next 3 or 4 years. But the purpose of that really was to compare it to the Roffers report that we had done about 4 years ago. And very interesting. He was very accurate, but the kids aren't in the places where he predicted that they would be. And so I've reached out to that company to just get a bid to see about updating that, because it has been 4 years. By the time we would do another one, that would be the 5th year. I think that's really important information. If we were to go on to another phase of construction, any type of referendum, you'd want a really nice enrollment projection. So we're working on that behind the scenes, and all that information is there. And it's probably very difficult to understand, but I certainly explain that to you again. A lot of assumptions. Things change very quickly from year to year. I also wanted to announce that Tuesday, February 18th, from 7 to, Tuesday, February 18th will be the primary from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And remember, we will have a primary for people running for the school board for Dr. Mason's open seat. And the people on the ballot in the order drawn would be Amy Litcher, Jim Williams, and Melissa Ruglitz-Walker. And then finally, I just really wanted to take a moment again to thank all of our community partners just for the, I hate to say outstanding, but it really was an outstanding just community event when we evacuated the buildings last Wednesday. From our partners, Lakeside and the Trinity Lutheran Church and the Catholic Church, just opened their doors immediately. We evacuated our buildings in 7 to 8 minutes. And we were in those locations and secure, and kids were secure. People just didn't even bat an eye. The plans were in place. They were ready for the call. They took action. But then all these other things happened. There were people who saw kids crossing the streets and walking with their teachers and pulled up their vehicles to block the street so no one could, go through there. So, not only did our evacuation sites support us, and the police and the fire department and the county and the town and ATF and FBI and all the partners that came out, but just citizens on the street helped as well. And I heard, just as we've been debriefing, I heard that people came to their churches to help support the kids while they were there because they knew that the kids were there. So it's a hard thing to practice because we didn't want to disclose those evacuation sites. So this was the first time we've ever really used them. And just, kudos to everyone, our staff, the district office staff, the administrators, everybody just did a great job. We learned a lot. We've debriefed a lot. We're changing the plans. We have other evacuation sites. So, some people were worried that we disclosed where the kids were. Well, there are other evacuation sites, so that's not a given at any time. But it was a tense time, but we just really learned so much, and we're just so appreciative for everyone that supported us during that.
Good. Any questions? Okay, community input? Do we have any?
Mrs. Whistler is here this evening.
Mrs. Whistler. What's your address, please?
My address is 303 Moss Street, Lake Mills, Wisconsin. Okay. And I'm here tonight because February 24th to 28th has been designated We Love Our Public Schools Week. And this year, the week is a national celebration of our public schools. So not only here in Wisconsin, but across the country, there will be many activities to celebrate our public schools. 9 out of 10 Americans students attend public schools, and this week is going to highlight the great things happening in our public schools nationwide, as well as bring attention to the critical issues facing our schools, our students, and our educators. On behalf of Citizen Advocates for Public Education here in Lake Mills, I want to thank you for signing a school board resolution in support of We Love Our Public Schools Week. We appreciate your commitment to our public schools and the students that they serve. I asked CAPE members and friends for their thoughts on why they love their public schools, and I'd like to share one of their responses that I received. On Tuesday mornings, when I volunteer at our public elementary school, I observe happy, eager students led by hardworking and kind teachers who include all students, special needs, English language learners, those from troubled home lives, and those who would demand extra attention by the hour. With the help of special education teachers, classroom aides, and volunteers, I see classroom teachers use creative methods to help all kids mature, succeed in small and big ways, and thrive. The survival of our nation depends on the strength of an educated people. This means all people, rich, poor, native-born, or immigrant, all races, genders, and sexual orientations. We must recognize that our public schools were created to serve this purpose and attain this goal. Visit your local public schools, volunteer your services, be proud to pay your taxes to support public education, and join us in celebrating We Love Our Public Schools Week. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Consent agenda. I'm going to read off the items on the consent agenda. Approval of January 13th, 2020 regular Board of Education meeting minutes. Approval of January 13th, 2020 Finance Committee proceedings. Approval of January 27th, 2020 Special Board of Education meeting minutes. Approval of January 29th, 2020 Facilities Committee proceedings. Approval of vouchers and invoices. Approval of Treasurer's Report. Approval of co-curricular letters of resignation. Approval of support staff letter of resignation. Approval of support staff letter of assignment. And does anyone want to pull anything out of there to discuss? If not,
I move the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have to separate it.
moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Roll call, please.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Dawn Delaney,
Aye.
David Radel,
Abstain?
Richard Mason.
Aye. And that passes 3-1 abstention. Action items. Approval of employee handbook update.
This is one that the two people should probably excuse themselves during this. Yep. So this employee handbook update I shared with you last month, and it has to do with clarifying the language in the employee handbook so that people understand that they receive vacation days as soon as they become employees. They don't have to earn them. They're available to them in their first year of hire.
Okay, so we can go ahead and approve that.
Yep.
Even though we have
You have a
two.
quorum of the eligible voters.
Yeah. So,
I move the board approve the employee handbook update on vacation as presented.
and I'll second that. Could we have roll call on that, please?
Rachel Davies.
Aye.
Richard Mason.
Aye, and that passes unanimously with those that are present, so. Come on back, you guys. Approval of truck bid.
Okay. We had put out a bid request for replacing one of our trucks with a Ford truck. We received 5 proposals, 3 of which were Ford trucks that met our specifications, and then we received a couple other bids for different types of vehicles, such as a Chevy Silverado. We are recommending to accept the bid from Griffin Ford Lincoln out of Fort Atkinson for the truck bid totaling $38,182, which does include a plow for the truck as well.
Motion, please?
I move to accept the bid from Griffin Ford Lincoln out of Fort Atkinson for a 2020 Ford F-350 truck in the amount of $38,182.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the purchase of a truck, a Ford truck from Griffin Ford. Any questions on that or comments or anything? All right, roll call, please.
Don Delaney.
Aye.
David Radel.
Aye.
Rachel Davies.
Aye.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Approval of roof bid.
As our committee met, the facility committee met with Rod and myself reviewing our long-range facility plan, what we wanted to do this year, because we had some dollars available yet, was to replace the roof that's above the lower gym and above the elevator area. So we received some proposals for replacing those roofs, and we are recommending to go with Badgerland Commercial Roofing. The total of the 2 proposals is $35,280. So $29,990 is from the lower gym roof, and then $5,290 is for the elevator sections.
Any questions or comments on those? All right, let's have a motion.
I move to accept the bid from Badgerland Commercial Roofing, Inc. out of Watertown for $35,280.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the bid from Badgerland for the new roof, for replacement of the roof. Roll call, please.
David Radel.
Aye.
Rachel Davies.
Aye.
Don Delaney.
Aye.
Richard Mason.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Approval of We Love Our Public Schools Week resolution.
So attached to your packet tonight is a resolution proclaiming it and supporting We Love Our Schools, our Public Schools Week. And you haven't approved resolutions in the past, so this, in my memory. So this would be a new activity for you. So I have presented it as an action item, so you can actively decide if you want to do this or not.
Motion?
Go ahead.
I move the board approve the resolution in support of We Love Our Public Schools Week, February 24th through the 28th, 2020.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution in support of We Love Our Public Schools Week. So this is a first for us. Roll call, please.
Rachel Davies.
Aye.
Don Delaney.
Aye.
David Radel.
Aye.
Richard Mason.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. So approval of Lake Mills High School Music Department spring break trip.
This is the trip that the department takes every 4 years to Florida, and all the details are contained within the packet that's attached.
I move the board approve the Lake Mills High School Music Department trip to Florida from March 25th through the 31st, 2021. It is understood that the board will incur no cost and will accept no liability for any funds lost for any reason.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the spring trip for the music department. Any questions on that? Roll call, please.
Don Delaney,
Aye.
David Radel,
Aye.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Richard Mason,
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Approval of high school lottery system.
So this is in regard to the presentation and the packet that you have.
I would make a motion at this time to table it for the next board meeting, when we have a full board here.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on that? All right, let's do roll call.
Dave Radel,
Aye.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Don Delaney,
Aye.
Richard Mason,
Aye, and that passes unanimously. We'll take that up next month. Approval of course recommendations for the 2021 school year.
Last month, you heard a presentation from Ms. Thompson, Curriculum Director, regarding 3 course proposals, which include 5th grade choir, 6th grade choir, and high school strength and conditioning.
I move the board approve the 5th grade choir, 6th grade choir, and strength and conditioning course recommendations as presented at the January 2020, I don't know if I can, I wasn't there.
You were there.
Yeah, I don't think I can make that
Make-
motion, then can I?
You can make the motion, but not,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
vote on it.
January 2020 regular meeting for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
You can vote on it because you have all of the information. You
Okay.
weren't just there to hear it
Okay.
live.
Questions or comments on that?
Yay?
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 Strength and
5th grade?
conditioning, where's that, high school? Okay. Any other questions, comments?
And the choir, yeah.
You're good?
That's great. 5th and 6th grade, it's been missing, so
Good, good.
it's awesome.
Roll call, please.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Don Delaney,
Aye.
David Radel,
Aye.
Richard Mason,
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Approval of agreement with Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative.
This is something that we've been doing with our food service program. We're in our 2nd year of it, and what I didn't realize is we do get some rebate money from the co-op, and this year we received a little over $1,200 for the first year. If you look at the agreement that's attached, you'll see there's 58 schools across the state that are part of this cooperative. It's been very beneficial to our food service director in getting bids for equipment and for our bidding process for milk and bread and other food items, and such as the prime vendor. So we're very happy to be part of this group.
I move the board approve the 66.0301 agreement with Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the purchasing agreement. Any questions on that? Anyone? All right, roll call, please.
Don Delaney,
Aye.
David Radel,
Aye.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Richard Mason,
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Approval of gift, Mr. Radel.
I move the board accept the following gift and thank the generous donor for the continued support of the students and programs of the Lake Mills Area School District. $125 donation from Insight FS to the Lake Mills Area High School FFA.
Second. Oh,
Second, Dr. Delaney
sure.
snuck in there. Questions or comments on that? Roll call, please.
David Radel,
Aye.
Rachel Davies,
Aye.
Don Delaney,
Aye.
Richard Mason,
Aye, that passes unanimously. Future agenda items?
I would just mention that on Wednesday, the 12th, you have a closed session special board meeting at the elementary school conference room in regard to the superintendent search. And then March 9th, at that regular board meeting, there will be a reception for our youth apprentice program. It'll be at 6:30. We're talking about having the people who are involved in that program maybe come a little bit earlier and tour the tech area if they haven't been down there yet. And then we'll come from our finance meeting to meet everyone here for the reception.
Good, and we'll add the Loudy.
Yes, and we'll add the Laude system at that meeting as well.
All right. A motion to go to executive session.
I move the board adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Parent I, professional and support staff benefits. Parent II, district administrator search.
Second.
Could we have a roll call on that, please?
Rachel Davies.
Aye.
Don Delaney.
Aye.
David Radel.
Aye.
Richard Mason.
Aye. We are adjourned to executive session.